All right, good morning or afternoon when you're watching this, and we are ready to start Chapter 4 in Excel, which is titled Formatting, Organizing, and Getting Data. This chapter is all about how we manage data, and the overview discusses how Excel can use data from many sources as well as provide data to other programs. And what that means is a lot of times in today's world we pull data from other avenues and put it into Excel so we can analyze it. And then whatever format we put it in, sometimes we have to take that and push it out to, say, PowerPoint or Word or even other software that is out there. So we're going to talk about how we deal with data and some of the things that we can do. So I'm going to break these up by the different pause and practices. If you're on your sim book, you could follow along with these in that and watch what we were doing, but this will be a good resource for some of the things that we're going to do. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about Excel tables, and this is a great thing to know because you can do so many things within what's called an Excel table. And the definition of an Excel table is a list of related pieces of information that is formatted with a title row followed by rows of data. And then when data is put into a table format, you can do things like sorting, filtering, and also calculating results easily, much like a database. So that's what we're going to get into with this one. This is Paradise Lakes 04 that you would use if you were using your data files. And I've saved mine as Chapter 4 practice, but we're going to start here on the Revenue tab, and you can see we've got our information. It's related. It's got a header row up here in row number 3, and we're going to set this thing up as a table. So the first thing you do is you select all of your data, including your header row, which is row 3, and you highlight those. And we're going to go to our Home tab, and under our Styles group, we're going to select Format as Table. And we have lots of options how we want to pretty this up, depending on whether you want it to be yellow or pink or black or whatever the case might be. We're going to go to the third row under Medium, and we're going to choose Table Style Medium 20 right there. Okay. And it'll give us this option to signify, yes, my table does have headers. So if you didn't have headers, you'd want to make sure that check mark was off. But you can then verify that you've got the correct cell range. And then you simply click OK. It is now an Excel table. Notice that we get a new set of tools called Table Tools under Design. And we're going to be exploring that here in just a minute. So one of the first things you can do once it's set up as a table, and if you are down here in the middle of the table, you'll notice we have our new ribbon. If you go outside, the ribbon goes away. Okay, but one of the very first things that you can do is under Table Tools Design, we have these options, and we have this one called Total Row. And when you click on that, you get a row beneath your table that's part of the table, and by default it goes to the number row and it does a sum. But that's not something you have to do. You've got other options. Under each one, for instance, this is text, but we could hit the drop down and we could do a count, for instance. Okay, and there are 27 of those. So, you know, and then this is the sum, but you could do an average, you could do a minimum, or whatever the case might be. Another thing that we can do then is we can do our normal format. So if we're going to want to change this to currency, we just would have to go to Home, change it to currency, and decrease our decimal the way that we want it to be. All right. So another thing that you can do within a table, which this happens quite a bit, is if you look at our information, you'll see we've got a couple Christopher Bowmans in here. That's one thing that you'll see. There's actually a couple of duplicates in here that we will notice as we go through this. But Christopher Bowman, although manager, you can see that one is for rentals, one is for boutique. They're not duplicates, but Josie Dataline, let's find her. If we look through Josie and find, there's a Josie Representative Walker. And then Josie must be in here again somewhere, and I'm overlooking it. Right above it, there it is. Okay, and you can see that those are both exactly the same. So we have the ability to find duplicates, but we got to be careful with this because in this example, Christopher Bowman needs to remain in both of these, but Josie, we need to get rid of one of those. So here's how you do it. All right, so make sure you're in the table, and we are going to go to Table Tools Design, and we are going to go to the Tools group and find Remove Duplicates. And we're saying, all right, which ones do we want to find? So if we chose all of them, you know, then we wouldn't find anything that would be exactly. So we're going to unselect all and be a little bit more strategic. We know we're looking for duplicate names, but Christopher Bowman, we don't want him deleted. So we do know that if the amount is the same also, that it's the same individual listed twice. So when you click OK, it's going to find those duplicates, which is just Josie. And it's going to say one duplicate value was found, which was Josie Dataline, and it removed one of those two. Okay, and Christopher Bowman is still there. So that's how you can do that. So if you were dealing with hundreds and hundreds of rows of data, you would want to be able to find those duplicates. Here's another thing you can do with data. It's pretty cool. So let's say we want to look at the data specifically with the numbers. So from E4 to E29 now. We can go to our Home tab, and under Styles, we have this conditional formatting command. And we can do some pretty cool things with this. You know, we could highlight those that are greater than $10,000, or show us the bottom 10 of these, or show us the top 10% or top 5%. Well, we're going to do one called data bars, and we're going to choose these blue ones. It immediately, I always consider this kind of like a gas tank. It'll show the largest number is full, which is 17,500, and then it will adjust accordingly. So this kind of shows where it stacks up compared to the largest number in that group. So, and you can do whatever color that you would want. Now, when you have those selected, let's say you want to tweak that a little bit, we can go into our conditional formatting, and we can go down to Manage Rules. And let's say we want to change this a little bit. So there's our rule that we just did. So let's edit. We'll select it, and we're going to edit that rule. And this is where we can make some changes to that particular rule. So like, for instance, on the color, if we want to change the color, let's say we want to choose gold accent 3. And let's say we wanted to do something with the border and change it to no border. Okay, and then you can see there's the preview of that. We'll click OK, apply, and OK. So you can make it look any way that you want. Another thing within tables that you need to be familiar with is when you reference them. So if we come over here to H4, that's a 2% increase, and we wanted to do a formula based on some of the numbers within our table, here's how it's going to look. If you start with an equal sign, and we click on E30, which is our total down here, notice the structure of this. This is called a structured reference within the table. And the reason that is the case is because we can filter in things that can alter the way it looks and the cell reference and so forth. So you always got to use the pointing method. I would not want to type in E30. I want to click on it so I get the structured reference. And this formula is times parentheses 1 plus, and then we're going to click on this one, G4, okay, which is our percentage there. Close the parentheses and press enter. And that's a 2% increase. And it's 178. Now that structured reference there of totals amount is the same as absolute cell reference, so it's going to reference that. So when I fill this down, you'll notice that it's always the amount column, but it changed G5 to G6. Okay, the structured reference is absolute. Okay, so that's an intro to some of the things within this. We're going to continue with pause and practice 2, but I'm going to go ahead and save this so you can watch it at your own convenience. Hopefully this helped you. Thank you.